co-sponsor things, so the Hancock County Democrats with some other group or some other individual. So I appreciate David stepping up and being the first. I'm not sure how much of your thunder I just stole there, but I'll let Mark also welcome you.
First of all, I'm going to start like a movie theater preview. If anybody has a cell phone, silence it in courtesy to our speaker. I certainly do want to welcome all of you to this kickoff event of the Community Leaders Forum. Our intent is to provide thoughtful, careful discussion of issues of importance to every citizen in this community. We want to do so intelligently. We want to do so in a civil tone at all times. And at the same time, we will not be afraid to take on issues of substance. And occasionally there might be even a little controversy. But if we can maintain a civil tone, just imagine what we can do for American democracy. And if the Russians are listening, it's so appropriate that we would have David Baria kick off this event. In the world of political leadership in this state, and I will honestly tell you, we can rehearse this, and I will honestly tell you in the nation, in terms of politicians that I've encountered, it is rare to see an individual who is so committed to being thoughtful and prepared on the issues. David always comes prepared. He always is up on what is going on. If you read the article that appeared in the Seacoast Echo talking about the issues in front of the legislature, you got a very good taste of that. So with that, and I won't go into where you got your law school degree or anything like that, and needless to say, David's also an accomplished lawyer in his spare time. Before you please join me in welcoming David, though, let me point out that we have a number of empty seats out here. So all you people that are avoiding the cheap seats up front, please do take some time to find a seat and enjoy your comfort. I understand.
So we can let them know for the future.
Thank you very much. Somewhere there's a clipboard with a sign-up list please do give us your name and email address if you want to be put on an email list where we'll let you know of our next program. I will let you know that for February, we don't have an absolute locked-in date, but towards the end of February, we're trying to work out a program on our public schools. Today you'll hear David talk about a number of issues that are facing the public schools. In March, we're looking forward to a program with our mayors, having them speak to us about what's going on in all of our municipalities. And I want to welcome, in fact, Mayor Les Fillingane, and thank you for attending. We have other topics on economic development, on community recycling, on going solar. It's going to be a diverse set of topics throughout the course of the year, and we hope that each and every time you will both be able to contribute as well as come away with something that you consider valuable. With that, I hope you all will join me in welcoming David Baria.
Thank you very much for putting this program together, and I am honored to be the first presenter. I think this is great, and I am thrilled to see this many people get up and get out on a Saturday morning to get down here and listen to what I have to say. And I hope that this attendance grows, and pretty soon you guys outgrow this room and we have to go over to the community center or somewhere else. We have so many people who are interested in what is going on in our community, in our state, and in our country. And thanks, Bruce, to the Hancock County Democrats for sponsoring this program. We really appreciate the involvement that you and all of your board has in our community and what y'all do for us. Thanks to all of you for being here. I don't really have any particular format that I want to follow today, so I want this to be wide open and as laid back as you guys want to make it. I do not intend to talk to you for 2 hours or talk at you for 2 hours. I have a few things that I want to mention, and Hopefully that will lead to some discussion. I work much better in a question and answer format. I hope that you guys have some questions that you come in here with today, and I hope that some of the things that I say to you will stimulate some questions. I want to hear from you. I don't have an original thought. I never have. Anything that I've done in the legislature has come from somebody that I bumped into in this community or another one who said, hey, why aren't y'all doing this? Or why don't you do this? Or couldn't we do this a different way? And I thought, that's a good idea. So I try to take it to the legislature and try to approve things based on what I get from you folks. So I don't know the right answer to everything. I have some ideas, and I'm going to give you some statistics, some facts and figures, and kind of set the stage, and I want to hear from you. So for those of you who don't know me, I look around the room, and I know most everybody, but there are probably a few of you who don't know me. But I'm David Baria. I'm your state representative. Our district here is District 122. There are 122 districts in the House of Representatives in the state of Mississippi. We are the last one, but the best one, I tell everybody in Jackson. Before I was elected to the House of Representatives, I served 4 years in the Senate. So altogether now, I have represented this area in the Mississippi legislature for 10 years. And it is one of the more proud accomplishments of my entire life to say that I have represented this area in the Mississippi legislature for 10 years. I truly am honored to represent you in Jackson. We don't always get everything we want as individual representatives in Jackson. And a lot of times, depending on the party that you're involved in or who's your good friend and who's not, you may get things passed in terms of legislation with your name on it, and you may not. But as a member who is active and who is building relationships and who has good ideas and stays involved, you can still impact legislation in positive ways. And I feel like more than anything else, that's what I've been able to do for my 10 years in the legislature. So I know that the focus today was going to be on education, and it can still be on that, but I want to set the stage a little bit, and excuse me for borrowing this, whatever this thing is here, so I can rely on my notes. I've made a few notes. Let me say at the outset, the way that the legislature functions is through committees, and everything operates on deadlines. Our first deadline has already passed. The deadline for requesting drafting of bills was last Wednesday. Now we have a deadline Monday for actually filing those bills, general bills. There are general bills, and then there are appropriation bills, and there are resolutions. So there are different types of bills, if you will, and each one has a deadline that applies. The committee process is critical to the whole legislative process. Committee chairmen and women have absolute power over their committees, except that in the House, the Speaker may tell that committee chairman, I want you to kill this bill, or I want you to pass this bill. And in the Senate, correspondingly, that would be the Lieutenant Governor. The House of Representatives elects one of its own members as Speaker, and that person controls the House. And in the Senate, the Lieutenant Governor, who is elected statewide, controls under the Senate rules, appoints the committees, is in charge of the process, etc. So just by way of background, that's generally how it works. I'm on the Judiciary B Committee, Youth and Family Services Committee, Universities and Colleges Committee, and this year I was appointed to the Appropriations Committee, which is the committee that puts our budget together. The Speaker took me off of the Public Utilities Committee to put me on Appropriations. That's pretty fair trade. That is good for us down here because now I'm a part of creating the budget. I'm going to talk to you a little bit later about some of the bills that I have filed and give you a means to track not only my bills, but every bill that's filed in the legislature. I have some handouts that I'll give you for easy reference on that. But let me set the stage by talking a little bit about where we are in Mississippi right now as a state. We have created fewer jobs since 2000 than what we've lost. Our tax base is shrinking as our children graduate from high school and college and move out of state for better opportunities. We lost 3.2% of our total population to migration between 2014 and 2015. That's the last year we have accurate numbers. We rank 49th nationally in health outcomes. We continue to compete for the title of the poorest state in the nation. Mississippi women are paid 31% less annually than what men are paid for the same work. The poor in Mississippi pay a larger percentage of their income in taxes, 10.4%, as compared to 5.3% paid by the wealthy. There are currently 936 state bridges and 24,600 miles of state roads that aren't able to hold up to the traffic they were designed for. And it's estimated that the annual cost to repair these bridges and these roads is about $375 million per year. The national GDP has grown at 2% since 2008-2009. Mississippi has only grown at 0.1% during that same time. As I said, jobs are flat since 2000. And if you look at the job numbers, by any measure, we've had fewer jobs since 2000 or fewer jobs since 2008, which is the benchmark year for when the recession hit the country. We're just not creating jobs. And we are one of 5 states whose economy has shrunk since 2008. So Mark mentioned the article that was published in the Seacoast Echo. The Clarion Ledger picked that up and published it this morning. And I don't mean to be overly dire when I give you these numbers, but I think it would be wrong for me to come in here and say the state of our state is wonderful, everything is great, we've got nothing to worry about, let's go home and sleep soundly, because I really don't think that is the case. I hope and I pray that we can turn this around, and the import of my article, what I was really trying to say in that piece is that these problems were not created overnight, they weren't created by one party or the other, and they're too big for one party alone to solve. We have got to work together in Mississippi if we want to turn our ship of state around, and that's what I've been preaching for quite some time now. The most recent news out of Jackson last Thursday was that the governor has cut our budget again by this time $51 million, and he transferred another $4.5 million out of our rainy day fund. Our rainy day fund is the money we set aside